the screen. It says plainly, Feast of Dedication, another name for Hanukkah. This is on the Oxford Dictionary. I didn't even expect to find this on the Oxford Dictionary. It's plainly telling you it's another name for Hanukkah. So this proves that Jesus observed Hanukkah, not Christmas. So if we're really following Christ, why aren't we celebrating the things he celebrated? Why aren't we celebrating the Passover, which we're going to see that too? You don't celebrate the Passover and you don't celebrate Hanukkah, but you celebrate Christmas. And you got all these people coming at me every time I come on this stream telling me their religion is the right one. We really follow Jesus. But y'all ain't celebrating what he celebrated or considering holy what he considered holy and important. Now, I'm going to ask another question. I want to see how many people are going to be honest. If you lived back then with Jesus and you followed him and he celebrated Hanukkah, would you be celebrating it with him? Give me a W if you would be celebrating it with him.
Of course.
Exactly. You would be doing what he did. So why do we think now we need to do our own thing? I do what he does. That's why we celebrate Hanukkah. I don't celebrate Christmas. Christmas is not in this Bible. Hanukkah is. And here's another fun fact that I want to hit y'all with. Y'all do know that the Feast of Dedication is mentioned nowhere in what we call the Old Testament. None of those 39 books. So how did they even know about Hanukkah? And the history of it, when it was established. It's nowhere in the Old Testament. That means they had to be using another group of books or writings to establish that. You're going to learn a lot. And these books were removed from Protestant Bibles. That's why you don't know what the Feast of Dedication is. But the truth be told, y'all don't know what any of these holy days is. I see people in the chat right now asking, what is the Passover? That's a shame, Jeff. You a Christian and you've never heard of the Passover? Even though the Bible says Christ is the Passover? I'm not trying to shame anybody here, but it is a shame. I had like 3 people in the chat. 3 different people in the chat. I don't got my chat open. This is being in the corner. You just see a couple of stuff sliding up. But I had like 3 people coming and saying, what is the Passover? That would be like a Jewish person asking me, what is a Jew? As a Christian, you should know what the Passover is. But don't worry. It's a legitimate question. And we're going to answer it. Because I'm going to walk y'all through what the Passover was and how Jesus is the Passover now. And why we eat Passover lamb and not Christmas ham. I'm going to show you all of that. It's all related. In other words, just to jump all the way to the spoiler, Christmas is a corruption of the Passover. It is the exact opposite of it. It is as opposite to the Passover as Satan is to God. One was established by God, the other one was established by the devil. And the devil is very crafty, sisters and brothers. Satan is not going to come to you and say, hey, I'm Satan, please worship me. That's not how Satan works. Satan is going to trick you into worshiping him because he knows that you know better. He knows he has to tell you a lie. He's not going to come right out and say, yo, I'm the devil. So what we're going to do now that we got that out the way, let's go to Exodus 12 and let's teach them about the Passover. Exodus 12.
I can follow along on my screen if y'all want.
And we're going to start at verse 1. I'm going to walk them all the way through this, Jeff, so they can see. Because it hurts my heart when I hear Christians or see Christians in the chat saying stuff like, what's the Passover? That's bad. when the Passover is mentioned in the Bible, Old and New, by the way, dozens of times. Dozens. Right? But you know what's so funny though, Jeff? The same person who will ask you, what is the Passover, will be in here trying to argue with you though. Don't even know what the Passover is, but in here trying to argue with you. A lot of y'all don't know what you think you know. And I know it can be hurtful and offensive feeling, but I'm just telling you the truth. This is nothing but Bible I'm reading to y'all. I'm not reading anything to y'all that y'all can't just follow along. Gideon posted on the screen. A lot of y'all got Bibles right now in your laps, on your tables. Y'all reading all of this with me. But the problem is, and we don't like to admit it, we believe our pastors and leaders more than we believe the scriptures. That's the problem. And a lot of y'all are really too young to have an opinion anyway. I get people in my DM all the time asking me, Josh, I want to do this, but you know, my parents, my grandparents, right? And I feel your pain, I really do. But there's really nothing you can do at that point until you get out on your own. But this is Exodus 12, and what we're gonna do is read 1 through 3, and then we're gonna explain some stuff. Exodus 12, 1 to 3. When you get there, Jeff, read please, sir.
Exodus chapter 12, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you.
Now, the Lord is telling Moses and Aaron, that was Moses' older brother, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. This is not talking about January, people. It's talking about the first month on the Hebrew calendar. And it has a name. We're going to look it up. It shall be the first month of the year to you. We're even going to see what time of the year this month starts. Right? Continue, please, Jeff.
Verse 3. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house.
It says, Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel. This is when they're in the land of Egypt. I'm pretty sure most Christians know the story of the Exodus. I hope. Right? It says, Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month, first month, we're going to look up what it is. They shall take to them every man a lamb. Did it say a pig, Jeff?
No, sir, a lamb.
Did it say swine?
No, sir, a lamb for an house.
It said a lamb. The reason why God chose a lamb is for two reasons. Number one, it is a clean animal, according to the dietary regulation that he gave. And number two, the lamb points towards Jesus and his sacrifice as the Passover. But every year when you eat pork or ham, you are partaking of another sacrifice, which is of Satan. Satan has tricked all of us into denying the Passover lamb and adopting the Christmas ham. That's what he has done. I'm going to show you that when we go through this, y'all are going to see that everything that was evil, even the time of the year when they were doing this, is exactly what you do today. You just call it Christmas. All they did was slap Christmas on it. It's not even really Jesus. I'm going to show y'all the individual y'all are really celebrating. There's a person in history, and it's his birthday. They did it for his birthday, and y'all going to see that's what y'all are doing. That's what you're going to see, right? But now, let's go to Exodus, still in Exodus, go right over to chapter 13. And let's get the name this month. Exodus chapter 13. We're going to read verses 3 and 4. So y'all can see for yourselves how deceived we've been. See, if somebody ever came to me, Jeff or Gideon, and they told me I've been deceived about something, I'm going to want to know if it's true. I'm going to want to know if it's true. I'm not going to start bucking and disagree. I'm going to hear them out. Just like if you go to a store and you're about to buy something and somebody pull you to the side and say, yo, dude, this is a ripoff, or this item that you're getting is not quality. I'm not gonna get mad and start, no, tell me more. I wanna know. But we love lies. In fact, the internet loves lies. I don't know if people know that or not. We get on the internet to escape the truth. We don't like having conversations like this. This is why people get upset. They get very upset. They get in their feelings. That's why people go online. We go online to escape the truth. But then when they get hit with the truth online, now they're mad. A lot of people, they don't want to admit it. You're not as good of a person as you think you are. A lot of us want to believe we're good people. We're nice people. That's what we want to believe. For myself, we all like to believe we're good, we're decent. But when you're hit with the truth of the word, this demon comes out. Now you want to just tear up the person telling you the truth, even though you can't refute anything they're saying. You're already disagreeing with them. They've been talking less than 5 minutes and you're already disagreeing. You're already promoting your scriptures. Romans 14, Josh. Yeah, I've never read Romans 14, Jeff. I didn't even know there was a Romans book in the Bible. So quick to argue. And it's not just the young people, old and young, so quick to argue. That's why we got so much division in the Christian church now. Nobody is really listening to anybody else. I hope y'all know that. Y'all do know that when people argue, nobody is really listening to the other side. They just sitting there waiting their turn. That's what a lot of people do when they argue. They just sitting there waiting their turn. And then when you're done talking, okay, my turn. We're not really hearing each other. And the sad truth is, all of the arguments y'all are bringing in the chats and when y'all come on this stage, I've already heard them. Nobody's even come with anything new, Jeff. That's the sad thing about it. I be wanting to see something new. I want to hear something I've never heard before. I got second and third generation people trying to teach me stuff that their parents and grandparents already brought me, generation-wise. Right? I've already heard this stuff. And this ain't no disrespect to the young, but if you're 17 or 18 and a 5-year-old or a 4-year-old came to you trying to teach you basic math, how would you respond to that, Jeff? If you're 17 or 18 and a 4 or 5-year-old try to teach you basic math, like they really schooling you too.
I laugh.
How'd you respond to that, Jeff?
I laugh.
You laugh. You're like, you do know that I already know this, right? You do know that I already learned this when I was in pre-K and kindergarten, right? And first grade. I already know this. But that's how I feel, Jeff. I feel like a bunch of kindergartners are trying to teach me basic math, and I'm a freaking college student. That's how I feel. And you try to tell them, look, I already know it. They keep coming at you. It's nothing disrespectful. I'm not saying I know everything, but if I tell you I already know about that, I'm gonna stop you right there. I don't want to hear the rest of it. I already know this movie. I've seen this movie before. And they can attest too, Jeff, that when I haven't heard anything before, I'm like, no, I've never heard about that. And I get quiet and I'm like, tell me about it. So we got to learn to chill when somebody is saying something we never heard, even if we disagree with it. We got to learn some temperance. You know, the Bible speaks about temperance. That's called self-control. Right? We got to stop acting like a pack of dogs chasing another female dog in heat. Just want to jump on her. Got to calm down. You follow what I'm saying? But Exodus 13, where'd you stop at?
We didn't even start, brother. 13.
Cool, 3 and 4. Give me that, please.
Exodus chapter 13, verse 3. And Moses said unto the people, remember this day in which you came out from Egypt, out of the house of bondage. For by strength of hand the Lord brought you out from this place. There shall no leavened bread be eaten.
And leavened bread means bread with yeast in it. Y'all know yeast makes dough rise. And this pointed towards Jesus too. But watch what it says in verse 4. Read that, please.
Verse 4. This day came ye out in the month of Abib.
It said, this day you came out in the month Abib or Abib, right? This is the day you came out. So now it gives the name to that first month that Moses and Aaron heard about from God. So what we're going to do is go back to the Holman Bible Dictionary, and we're going to see what is Abib. And we're going to go to page 5. We're going to look up the meaning of the word Abib. What month is that? Right? This is Abib. Look what it says. Month of the Exodus deliverance from Egypt, and thus of the Passover festival. So now we know that Passover happens in the month of Abib, the first month on the Hebrew calendar. But let's see what it corresponds to, because the Hebrew months is 12 of them too. They don't line up perfectly with the Gregorian calendar. That's the calendar that we're under that has like the January through December. They don't perfectly line up, right? In other words, our Abib does not correspond to their January. That's not how it goes. Look what it says though. It says, a harvest month covering parts of March and April. What time period of the year is March and April, Jeff? What season?
Spring.
It's the spring, but we like to refer to it as the Passover season.
Right, but it's the Passover season. It's springtime, right? So already we're seeing that the Passover lamb is in the spring, but the Christmas ham is in what time of year, Jeff? What season?
Wintertime. Wintertime.
Wintertime.
Yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't spring and winter the exact opposites of each other?
Yes, sir.
Spring is the beginning, winter is the end. Everything grows in the spring, starts growing. Everything dies in the winter. This is what Satan does. Satan takes something that God has established, copies it, and then makes an evil, corrupted version of it. And what Satan loves to do is take something God did, copy it, and turn it upside down. That's what the Antichrist is going to do. The Antichrist means against Christ. He's the negative version of Christ. He copies him, but at the same time, he's the opposite of him. So already we're seeing the Passover lamb is in the spring, but the Christmas
Yo, Ryan, thank you for that $10 donation, brother. Appreciate you. That's love, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Was something clean that was allowed to be eaten. We're going to see what it says about that swan, right? But now that we know that Abib is in the spring, March, April time, like last half of March, first half of April, that's when that month begins, right? Abib is in spring. Passover is in the spring. That means when Jesus died on the Passover,
Jono, appreciate the 5 for unsubbing, my man.
Well, people say, well,
W man, bro. W man.
He died during the spring.
I don't know why you have to pay to unsub, but hey, it is what it is.
But Christmas is allegedly about when he was born. Do you see the opposite there, Jeff? One of them surrounds his death, the other one surrounds his birth. Problem is, the Bible never tells us to celebrate his birthday. But it does tell us to celebrate his death when we keep the Passover. Y'all, Satan already got us doing everything backwards. Bible says, celebrate his death. Remember his death and resurrection. Man says, no. Remember his birth. Bible says, celebrate his death and resurrection in the spring. Man says, no. Celebrate his birth in the winter. It's like everything God tells us to do, we do the opposite. That's what Satan does. That's why all the stuff that Christians do, they can't find it in the Bible. But everything we're telling you, this is in the Bible. Christmas is not in the Bible. Passover is. But now let's go back, if you will, Jeff, to Exodus 12. And we're going to read 4 to 11, so we can learn about this Passover. Since I got so many people in the chat saying, what is the Passover? That's a question that a seasoned Christian or somebody who grew up as a Christian should never have to ask. Should never have to ask that. You should know what that is if you're claiming to be a professed Christian. If you're in this chat trying to teach us something and don't even know what the Passover is. That's basic Bible knowledge when it comes to Christianity. You should definitely know what the Passover is. Even if you don't know the original meaning behind it, you should know the symbolism it has with our Lord and Savior. You should know that, right? So we got to calm down and learn. We have to. I had to do the same thing. You don't know everything. In fact, you don't know much of anything. It's the truth. I mean, we need to be known. We need to know that. Because y'all seem to think that emotion equals knowledge. If you just have a strong feeling about something, that makes you smart. That's not how knowledge works. Knowledge means literally what you know. Wisdom is how you apply what you know. But when you talk about knowledge, most of y'all don't know what knowledge is. That's why you don't know anything. And I bring them on the stage and I give them a fair shake and I test them and I'm like, it's this pride thing, man. It's this internet, the internet, social media, it gasses people up. It makes you think you're indestructible, that you're all knowing. On the streets, a lot of us will be acting like this, like knowledge-wise. You ain't gonna walk into your college professor classroom. I'm talking about young college students here. You ain't gonna walk into there and start trying to school him. He's gonna kick you out and still keep your tuition. That's what he's gonna do. Ain't no refunds on your college tuition, by the way. Y'all know that if you go to college. You know, after a certain time. But you ain't gonna go into the class and argue with the professor and think you're gonna stay up in there. Because y'all know better than that. You know, pay good money to learn. If you already knew the information, you would be the professor, or you wouldn't be going to college in the first place. You follow what I'm saying? So, this is Exodus 12 again. Read verses 4 to 11, Jeff.
Exodus chapter 12, verse 4. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man.
Now it says, and if the household be too little for the lamb, is how they did the first Passover in Egypt. Let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of souls, meaning the number of people. Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb. Right? But continue, Jeff.
Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb.
Mm-hmm.
Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. Ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats.
And you see what the lamb had to be? Your lamb shall be without blemish. I mean, it couldn't have any type of marks or scars or deformities on it. It had to be perfect. This foreshadowed how Jesus would be the perfect lamb, the perfect sacrifice, right? And it said it had to be a male the first year, not a female. We're not looking for any female lambs. Mary was not the lamb. But y'all know about the song. What do y'all think that song came from? Mary had a little lamb. What do y'all think that's talking about? Y'all know that nursery rhyme? Mary had a little lamb. Jesus is the lamb. But a lot of people don't catch stuff like that. They throw it right in your face. But keep reading.
Verse 6. And ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening.
So the whole congregation of Israel should kill it in the evening of the 14th month. Now watch what they did with the blood of the lamb. Give me a W in the chat if you know that the blood of the lamb makes you think about Jesus. Give me a W in the chat. I know y'all know that. You should know that. That's the blood that we're under. That's the blood of the lamb. This is what this foreshadows. All of these things you're reading about symbolizes what Jesus would later do. Well, keep reading.
Verse 7. And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper door posts of the houses, wherein they shall eat it.
And I want to point something out to y'all. Y'all know that a door has a rectangular shape. And they were told to put blood on the two side posts and on the upper doorpost. So they had blood right here on the upper doorpost, blood right here, and blood right there. What does that make? What shape does that make, y'all? That's a cross. This was foreshadowing how Jesus would be on the cross. The upper doorpost, that's where his head was bleeding at. The two side posts, where his wrists were at, like that. That makes the shape of the cross. That is foreshadowing Jesus being on the cross. That's why they put it on the post like that. Top, two sides. That's what they did. This is all foreshadowing Jesus. That's what this is doing. It's making the shape of a T, right? But keep reading and watch what it says about this lamb. That's what they did with the blood. The blood of the lamb was shed on the cross. Top, that's his head, you know, with the crown of thorns. Y'all know that. He was bleeding. So if you're bleeding and you lay your head on the vertical part of the cross, that's blood right there. That's the top part of the doorpost. If you got pierced through your wrist, on the horizontal part, that's the two side posts. That's all that's talking about, right? But keep reading, Jeff.
Exodus chapter 12, verse 8. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire, and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it.
It's talking about the flesh of the lamb. Just like in the New Testament, when Jesus said, he that drinketh my blood and eateth my flesh. This is a foreshadow to that, because it's talking about the flesh of the lamb. The children of Israel did not mess with any swine's flesh. That's something that the pagans did. They have entire ceremonies surrounding eating pork in the wintertime. Oh, we're going to see that. In the wintertime. That's exactly what 95% of Christianity is going to be doing in a few weeks. Nobody even wonders why the ham is the delicacy on the Christmas menu. I know some people eat turkey, but Christmas ham got it beat. They even call it the Christmas ham. That's what they call it. We don't even know this stuff. We have been tricked. And then we go to Paul's writings and we twist things out of context. And we go to Mark 7 and Matthew 15. And we think that Jesus was actually telling you it's okay for you to eat pork. When we read through this, you're going to see there's no way he could have been saying that. We're supposed to be eating that Passover. That's why in most places, they always make pork cheap. Y'all ever compare lamb chop prices to ham prices? Anybody ever done that before? People who cook? Y'all know what I'm talking about. You go to the grocery store, man, lamb chop is very expensive. They put pork in everything. They sneak pork into stuff. This whole world wants us eating swine's flesh. That is a symbol of the devil. Eating swine, not the pig in of itself, just eating it, because God created all animals. You follow what I'm saying? He created all animals, right? But keep reading, Jeff. Let's see what else it says.
Verse 9. Eat not of it raw, nor sodden it all with water, but roast with fire, his head with his legs, and with the purtenance thereof.
It says, eat not of it raw. You cook it. For all of y'all medium rare loving people, we don't do that. It has to be cooked all the way. No pink. Well done. Right? It said, but roast with fire, his head with his legs, and with the purtenance thereof. Read verse 10.
And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning. And that which remaineth of it until the morning, ye shall burn with fire.
So he wanted them to eat all of it. And whatever you had left over, burn it. Right? Continue.
Verse 11. And thus shall ye eat it with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand. And you shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover.
And the reason why they had to eat it in haste is because they were getting ready to flee Egypt. That's why they had to eat it in haste. But what did they call it? The Lord's Passover. Not the Lord's Christmas or Christmas dinner. The Lord's Passover. Passover lamb, not Christmas ham. You read about the I'm showing it to y'all in the old, and I'm gonna show it to y'all in the new, and I'm even gonna show you how the forerunner or the prototype of the Antichrist came on the scene, and he was doing the same thing Christians are telling us today. I'm gonna show you that. He's doing the same thing y'all doing. The exact same thing. We don't understand this stuff. This big boy knowledge right here. A lot of y'all not ready for this, and it's okay. I can tell by how some of the comments y'all posting, like, you know, y'all ain't ready for this, and that's cool. A lot of people ain't ready for this. Then again, Jesus said a lot of people ain't gonna get in the kingdom. He said, wide is the gate that leads to destruction, and many shall be therein. Who do y'all think all these people are that's going to hell? Y'all think only rapists and pedophiles are going to hell? Y'all really think that? There's gonna be a lot of people on Judgment Day who think they should get in the kingdom. That's why Jesus is gonna be saying, many shall say to me on that day, have I done this? Have I done that? He's gonna say, depart from me, I never knew you. It's a scary thought to know that you could be on Judgment Day thinking you were serving Jesus all this time, and he tells you, I never knew you. Who do you think he's talking to when he say that? He's not talking to rapists and murderers and pedophiles. He's talking to people, they're Christians. He's talking to people who think they got it right. Those are going to be the ones trying to plead their case. He's not going to be hearing that. Because a lot of us are not as good people as we think we are. We want to believe we're good people. We want to believe we're good Christians. This is why a lot of people attack Gideon. Gideon told the Christian world that I'm not pranking anybody anymore because pranking is a form of deceit and lies. And the Bible says Christians aren't supposed to be deceiving and lying to each other. And 99.9% of the people that had a problem with Gideon saying that all identify as some kind of Christianity. What kind of Christian would get mad at another Christian for saying, I'm not going to lie anymore? I'm going to stop lying to people. I'm going to stop harassing people. What kind of Christian would get mad at a Christian for saying that? That'd be like a woman being married to a husband that always cheats on her, but she loves him and she never want to leave him. And he comes to her one day and sincerely tell her, baby, I'm sorry for all the cheating I've been doing on you. And I'm never going to cheat on you again. Do you think that woman would get mad at her husband, Jeff, for saying something like that? It's something she'd be happy to hear. This is how you know how backwards Christianity is. Christians are getting mad at a man because he's saying, as a Christian, I don't want to lie anymore. And that's upsetting Christians. Real Christians would be like, hallelujah, praise God. The prodigal son has returned. Heaven is Joyce, you know all the confirmations they be saying, affirmations. Y'all know that. That's how I know this is all messed up. We don't really want to change. We don't. We want to proclaim Jesus and stay sinners. That's what we want to do. We don't really want to change. And then when somebody like me comes along, I'm too real for you. You hate me. You try to do stuff with me. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are not, we got to start separating right now from people who are not true Christians. You need to start drawing the line right now. Look, man, I know you claim to be a Christian, but if you out here lying and going to strip clubs and cheating on your wife, I can't rock with you, dude. I can't hang around with you. And that goes to people who y'all hold in high esteem on YouTube. If they out here making unchristian content, Y'all need to be falling back. Like, man, I can't be watching you, man. You know, I love you, but I can't be watching that. That's why Gideon told everybody he applauds everybody that stopped watching him when they turned their life to Christ before he did. That's what this is all about, y'all getting it right. But now that we see that, Jeff, let's go to, you stopped at verse 11. Good. Let's go to Leviticus 11. Because for some reason, Christianity thinks God gave laws and then woke up one day and said, okay, y'all ain't got to do that no more. So God gave in to humans. Y'all know God is our Father. You know God is our Father, right, Jeff? You know that, right? You muted, Jeff. I can't.
Yes, he is.
You know that, right?
Yeah, my
right?
mute button is working kind of slow, brother. That's why the delayed reaction. But yes, she is our Father.
That's cool. What kind of father lays down the rules of his house, and when his children refuse to follow his rules, he say, okay, y'all ain't got to follow my rules no more?
It's like letting your kids.
That's the God. That's a weak God. That's the God that the Christians are promoting to you. They're telling you God gave all these laws, and one day just said, you know what, y'all ain't got to do that anymore. Even though he told you all throughout the Old Testament, he hates people breaking his laws. So he sent Jesus to die on the cross so you wouldn't have to follow his laws anymore. Your father caved in to you. You told God, no, I don't want to follow your laws. I don't want to. You threw a temper tantrum and God said, okay, I'm going to take my laws away. That's the God that Christianity is pushing to the world. That's why they said he got rid of those laws, because we couldn't keep them. That's the funniest thing I hear too, Gideon and Jeff. He got rid of the laws because we couldn't keep them. What type of cruel God will ask you to do something that he knew you couldn't do? What type of cruel God would do that? One of my nieces were born palsy, right? She cannot walk. She can't even talk. What type of father would my older brother be if he expected her to do things that an able child could do and got mad at her when she didn't do it? They'll say we couldn't keep those laws. So why did God give them?
Right. It's like they're saying that he sabotaged them with these laws and then punished them for not following it. That don't make no sense.
Exactly. First, God gives you laws that he know you can't keep, and then punish you when you don't keep them? What type of insane God is that? But that's what Christians will tell you, won't they, Jeff? They'll say, we couldn't keep them laws.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't, listen to yourself. We couldn't keep something that God told us. You can have that God right there. That is not the God I serve. I do not serve a God who sets me up for failure. That's called setting somebody up for failure. That's called entrapment. You mean to tell me man is more righteous than God? Did you know that if a cop is undercover and you have to, and you ask him if he's a cop, they have to tell you? You mean to tell me are more righteous than God? Man is more righteous than God? I mean, they got more integrity than God does, the way y'all describe it. I don't think an undercover cop should ever really have to reveal his identity if somebody just simply asks him. Because they don't tell you and you bust them, they call that entrapment. But entrapment is wrong in a sense because you're setting somebody up for failure. And that's the type of God y'all say we serve. Y'all say we serve a God that set us up for failure. I don't serve that kind of God. If God told me to keep his laws, he did it because one, he wanted me to do it, and two, he knew I could do it. That's the God I serve. Y'all serve a God, give all these laws knowing you can't keep them, then punish you, then send his son to die for you not listening to him. Right? Now you can do whatever you want to do. Well, this is Leviticus 11, 1-3. And then we're going to skip. This is why we don't eat pork. This law was never changed. I don't care what y'all say about Romans 14 or Matthew 15 or Mark 7. I've done a lesson on all of these verses. They're not saying what you think they're saying. This is Leviticus 11, 1-3. Read that, please.
Leviticus chapter 11, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, Speak.
Now, hold up. Who's speaking, Jeff? The Lord.
The Lord speaking to Moses and to Aaron.
See, we call it the law of Moses, but that's only because he was the mediator. The law was given through him, not from him. So God said what we're about to read. God said it. And for some reason, Christians believe God just changed his mind. Why would he even give this law in the first place? What's the purpose of giving a dietary law and then taking it away?
Right.
Why not just tell people what they can eat? Pork is the same now as it was back then. Y'all do know that, right? This ain't some kind of new thing that we're dealing with today. Every pig, every animal that you have now was bred from a previous animal that was bred from a previous animal all the way back to this time period. Why would God be like, don't eat something, and then later turn around and say, okay, you can eat it? What's the purpose of even giving it in the first place? Why did God have a problem with people eating pork in the first place? That's the question we should be asking. Not, why did he change it? Why did he have a problem with it in the first place? Christians don't ask these kind of questions. Oh, all I know is he said one time we can't eat it, now we can. Makes no sense. But keep reading.
Right. And before I go, I was taught that because they didn't know how to cook it the right way back then. But when we just read in Exodus, it just specified that it had to be fully cooked. So they did know how to cook.
Exactly. And people have been knowing how to cook all animals, clean and unclean, since the beginning of time. That's just the truth. They didn't make any new strides in cooking pork. You follow what I'm saying? They may have came up with new ways to cook it, but they always knew how to cook pork and lamb and everything else. People just be making stuff up. But continue reading, Jill.
Leviticus chapter 11, verse 2. Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth.
Now he said, these are the beasts that ye may eat of all the beasts that are on the earth. Right? Keep reading.
Whatsoever parteth the hoof, and is cloven-footed, and cheweth the cud, among the beasts that ye shall eat.
He said, whatsoever part of the hoof, and is cloven-footed, like a split hoof. Think of it like that. The hoof splits. Right? And cheweth the cud among the beasts, that shall ye eat. Chewing cud is a digestive process. Cows do it. They chew the cud, and then they swallow it, regurgitate it, and chew it some more. And there are animals that fit one of these descriptions, but not both. It has to fit both for you to be allowed to eat it. But continue.
Verse 4. Nevertheless, these shall you not...
Hold on, that's good, Jeff. Skip down, let's get straight to the point.
Okay.
Skip down and read verses 7 and 8. Read that.
Leviticus chapter 11, verse 7. And the swine, though he divide the hoof, and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud. He is unclean to you.
This is what God said. He is unclean to you, to be eaten. Not unclean in general. Unclean to be eaten. This is what God says. People say God changed this law. What made the pig clean all of a sudden? It's the same pig. And why did God ever consider it unclean? You know how he told you how it was unclean? He gave physical characteristics of it. If the characteristics are still the same today, then it's still unclean. Their physical characteristics is how you know if it's clean or not. If y'all are telling me that God cleans the pig, then its whole anatomy has to change. That's how God determined what's clean and unclean. It's physical characteristics. The pig does not chew the cud. It has a split hoof, but it does not chew the cud. He said it's unclean unto you. Y'all think this is how the dietary law works? God say something is unclean. Now it's clean. Why did he say it was unclean in the first place? And he called it an abomination. Y'all know what abomination means? It means something that God hates. So you mean to tell me God went from hating something to saying now it's cool? Read the next verse.
Verse 8. Of their flesh shall ye not eat, and their carcass shall you not touch. They are unclean to you.
Carcass is a dead body. They are unclean. This is the dietary law that God gave, and it never changed. You cannot change God's dietary law. Jesus cannot change the dietary law. Nobody can change God's laws. Paul cannot just jump up one day. And because you think that that can happen, you have went from the Passover lamb to the Christmas ham. You have went from serving God unknowingly serving Satan. But let's see how God felt when people did break this law. Because people act like it's just in the Bible and nobody ever broke it, and it doesn't state how God felt about it. Let's see how God felt about it. Let's go to Isaiah 65. This is what the children of Israel were doing. So God told them not to eat pork. We're going to show you that they did it anyway. Let's see how God felt about it. It's the weirdest. Somebody in my DM talks, I would love to discuss this topic with you, what you're talking about right now, Josh. Oh. I'm discussing it now. All you're gonna do if you don't agree, all you're gonna do is Mark 7, Matthew 15, Acts chapter 10, 1 Timothy chapter 4, Romans chapter 14, 1 Corinthians chapter 9. I know all of the scriptures. Don't waste your time. And none of them are saying you can eat anything you want. Don't waste your time. I hate to bust your bubble. Yep, eat whatever's sold in the meat market. Look, somebody already got it up there. See? I know about that one. This is Isaiah 65, right? We're going to read verses 1 to 5. This is God talking about the children of Israel and how wicked they became. Read that, please.
Isaiah chapter 65, verse 1. I am sought of them that asked not for me. I am found of them that sought me not. I said, behold me unto a nation that was not called by my name.
Continue.
I have spread out my hands all the day unto a rebellious people, which walketh in a way that was not good, after their own thoughts.
So God said, I have spread out mine hands all day unto a rebellious people, which walketh in a way that was not good after their own thoughts. He's describing the children of Israel. He calls them rebellious and people who do whatever they want to do. Watch what else he says. Go ahead.
Verse 3. A people that provoketh me to anger continually to my face, that sacrificeth in gardens and burneth incense upon altars of brick.
He said the children of Israel continually provoke him to anger to his face. In other words, they're pissing him off. He's going to tell you how they're pissing them off. First, he says they are sacrificing in gardens. Y'all know God didn't have a problem with sacrifices in general. So it must be a sacrifice that he don't like. Y'all know that God did not have a problem with people burning incense in general to him. So it must be a kind of burning incense that he does not like. Let's see what they were sacrificing and what he had a problem with. Go ahead and read.
Verse 4. which remain among the graves and lodge in the monuments, which eat swine's flesh, and broth of abominable things is in their vessels.
Now notice the people he's describing that is pissing him off. What are pissing him off, he says they remain among the graves and lodge in monuments. Y'all know monuments are buildings. What are they doing in these buildings? See, the children of Israel had started breaking God's dietary law, and God said, you made him mad when you did that. Now the Christian church is telling you God ain't mad no more when you do that. God changed his mind on that. So God is going to give us a law, tell us to follow it, then we break it, and he said it pisses us off when he break it, and then turn around one day and say, you know what, I ain't even mad about that no more. Eat whatever you want to eat. That's the God Christianity wants me to serve. No, thank you. You can keep that God. I don't want that God. That God can't make up his mind. That God is bipolar. 1 minute he cool with something, the next minute he can't stand it, then he cool with it again. Y'all can have that God. That is not the God I serve. He said these people were provoking him to anger. And it said broth of abominable things. Y'all know what broth is, like in the soup? He said they were making abominable broth. Like y'all like to put the pork in the collard greens and get that pork, that pot liquor. That's the broth of abominable things. And some people are smart. They said chicken broth. Y'all know what broth is. He said broth of abominable things. Y'all love that pork juice and that shrimp juice and that rabbit juice. He called that a broth of abominable things. And he said that pisses him off, right? And here's the audacity of it. These same people that think that does this, look at their attitudes. Read verse 5.
Verse 5, which say, stand by thyself, come not near to me, for I am holier than thou. These are a smoke in my nose, a fire that burneth all the day.
Now, as these people were abominable, they got the nerve to think they're better than you. Like, don't come close to me. I'm holier than you. That's where that phrase holier than thou comes from. You know how people say he act all holier than thou. It comes from this. It comes from this. Hey, Mods, anybody who just posted that Romans 14:14, kick him out the room. Y'all will see him. He just posted it. Kick him out. I told y'all, don't be posting on scriptures while I'm teaching. Kick them out. Let me know when you got them. Give me a thumbs up when you got them. Kick them up out of here. It ain't that type of show. This is a sermon. You can ask, you can post whatever you want during Q&A, but while we're teaching, hold your horses. We're not doing it like that. Let all things be done decently and in order. And be on the lookout for anybody trying to post Romans 14, 1 Corinthians chapter 9, 1 Timothy chapter 4. Y'all know them. They can post that after we're done. Mark 7, Mark 15, all of them. They can post it after we're done. We're not saying you're not allowed to give your understanding on scripture, just not while we're teaching. That's very disrespectful. They'll be like me going to your church, Jeff, and in the middle of a sermon while your pastor's teaching, you know, Jesus is the Son of God. I stand up. No, you're not. Wouldn't that be rude? Wouldn't that be disrespectful? That's what y'all do. Y'all come to the sermon in the middle of the sermon. No. That's what y'all do. That's disrespectful. Y'all need to learn some manners. Get out of here, man. You need better home training. Learn some manners, right? That's all this is about. It ain't about you disagreeing. It's about your manners. Get some better manners, right? But look what it says. These are a smoke in my nose, a fire that burneth all day. That means they are making me angrier and angrier. But let me show y'all how this reads in other translations so y'all can really see. So y'all can see for yourselves. We're going to read the same thing. We're going to read verses 3 to 5, but we're going to read it in the CSB first. So y'all can see exactly what this is saying. See, the children of Israel, they knew God's laws. They knew they weren't supposed to be eating pork, but they went and did it anyway. And God said they were making him angrier and angrier. This is how I read in the CSB. It says, These people continually anger me to my face, sacrificing in gardens, burning incense on bricks. Verse 4. Sitting among the graves, spending nights in secret places, eating the meat of pigs, and putting polluted broth in their bowls. You know, that's that pork juice, right? Then it says in verse 5, they say, keep to yourself, don't come near me, for I am too holy for you. These practices are smoke in my nostrils, a fire that burns all day long. Why is it that God is saying, Jeff, that people eating pork and cooking it burns in his nostrils all day long? It pisses him off. Just like that, God ain't mad about that anymore? I don't think so. That ain't the God I serve. Right? If he operates like that, how do you know he ain't gonna change the rules on Judgment Day, Jeff?
Right.
When they be messed up, you can't trust a God like that. You get on Judgment Day and he be like, you know what? I don't change the rules up. Right? But look how it reads in this translation. This is the Good News Bible. And boy, do they nail it in this one. Look what it says right here, so y'all can see. This is Isaiah 65, 3-5. They shamelessly keep on making me angry. They offer pagan sacrifices at sacred gardens and burn incense on pagan altars. Let's get into this Christmas thing, by the way, y'all. Now we working our way up to this. Verse 4. At night, they go to caves and tombs to consult the spirits of the dead. They eat pork and drink broth made from meat offered in pagan sacrifices. And that's exactly why y'all are eating that Christmas ham. It's for a pagan sacrifice. You don't even know it. Right? Then verse 5 says, and then they say to others, keep away from us. We are too holy for you to touch. I cannot stand people like that. That's what God is saying. My anger against them is like a fire that never goes out. God said that his anger against these people that eat swine's flesh and think they're holier than other people, his anger is like a fire that never goes out. But I guess the fire went out when Jesus died on the cross, huh, Jeff? That's what the Christians want you to believe. The fire went out when Jesus died on the cross. He ain't mad no more. Now you just eat whatever you want to eat. No. God gave the dietary law and he got very mad when the children of Israel started breaking it and sacrificing unclean animals to pagan deities. And that's what Christmas is all about. Your Christmas ham is that same pork. You're supposed to be eating the Passover lamb. But now that we got all of that out the way, let's go to one more place before we jump into this. Let's go to John chapter 1. You learn what the Passover is now, if you were paying attention. You see what God said about eating swine and other unclean animals. And now you're going to see the difference between the Passover lamb and the Christmas ham. And see that you have been tricked. You have been tricked into worshiping the devil. Satan is not going to come to you. Hey, y'all, I'm the devil. Please worship me. Satan knows he can't get you like that. He knows that, y'all. Y'all ain't going to do that. In the chat, even the ones that disagree with me, y'all know he ain't going to do that. But people don't know. The church is not teaching you that Satan tricks people into worshiping him. He has to, because the majority of the world would not do it if they knew it was him. Now, there are people that straight up worship the devil. They know it's him and they worship him. But God's people, Satan has to trick you into worshiping him. And that's what he's done with 95% of Christianity. That's why it says in Revelation 12, he's deceived the whole world. The whole world has been deceived by Satan. And every year on December the 25th, he shows you one of his biggest deceptions. You got all these Christians driving down the street with Christmas trees on the top of their cars. Killing trees. For what? To put gifts under them. For what? Decorating them. For what? Putting stars or angels on the top of them. For what? You don't even know why you're doing half of this stuff. You can't even tell me why you're doing it. And you've been doing it for years. I'm too inquisitive for that. If I do something for more than 10 minutes that I don't know why I'm doing it, sooner or later I'm going to ask the person that has me doing it, what's the purpose of this? Why are we doing this? Like, why am I doing this? Why is there a tradition that says that we're under the mistletoe, we're supposed to kiss? What the heck is a Yule log? Why is it called a Yule log? Why do we put tinsel on trees? Why do we put gifts on the trees? Which, by the way, in case y'all didn't know, another word for gift is sacrifice or offering. You're literally putting offerings to the idol. Y'all don't even know why y'all putting gifts under that. A gift is an offering. You're literally offering gifts to your idol. And they were doing that in the Bible. The pagans were. You can look it up. They were putting gifts under trees to their pagan gods. I did a whole class on this on my YouTube channel. Y'all doing the same thing today. Don't even know why. Thinking that God is okay with you doing that after you know. People don't understand, man. When judgment day come, man, it's gonna be a lot of nice people in heaven. I mean, in hell. Gonna be a lot of nice people in hell. There's an old saying: the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Y'all need to look up what that means. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. All it simply means is a lot of people with good intentions are going to hell. Because God is more concerned with you obeying him than your intentions. I serve a God that demands obedience. He does not suggest it. He demands it. That's the God I serve. I don't serve no God that punks out because people don't want to do what he says, so he gives in to them. That's what Christians are telling you that God did. He gave laws, man didn't want to keep them, so he punked out and gave in to man. When there are men alive who stick to their principles stronger than that. You trying to tell me man got more principles than God? God say do something, he mean do it. Plain and simple, right? Well, this is John chapter 1, verse 29. Read, please, Jeff.
John chapter 1, verse 29. The next day, John seeth Jesus coming unto him, and saith, Behold, the Lamb of God, which taketh away the sin of the world.
So John the Baptist saw Jesus and said, Behold, the Lamb of God that taketh away the sins of the world. Now, for everybody who's been listening from the beginning, y'all tell me in the chat, why did he call Jesus the Lamb of God? Because Jesus was what, y'all, in the chat? My people who've been listening. Why did he call him the Lamb of God? Because he's our, not you, Gideon. We know you know, Gideon. Let the people, you like that kid in the class that know the answer to every question, don't let get other kids answer. He's the Passover. That's why. That's why he called him a lamb. He's our Passover. See, they learn it. You see that, Jeff? They learn it. Here from the beginning, first they didn't even know what the Passover was. Now they know why John the Baptist called him the Lamb. Because he's the Passover. The Passover points towards him, right? That's why when you eat the Passover now, the bread and wine, and then also the lamb with it, that represents Jesus. It symbolizes you eating Jesus, right? Even Catholics know this, even though they go a little bit overboard with it, but even they know this, right? He's that lamb, right? That's where that phrase, you are what you eat, comes from, right? The Passover is holy. you eat the Passover that makes you holy. But it's talking about metaphorically too, right? But now let's go to this. Because guess what, y'all? All this up to this point, that wasn't even really the class. That was just the warm-up. That was just a little background. Now the class is really started. This is the real class right here. This wasn't even the class.
Yo,
so
everybody.
Kind of a twist for y'all. This is the real class.
Everybody take y'all notes. At the end of the class, I'm going to put all your guys, 3 people are getting lunch today.
It's Hanukkah.
I'm going to send you guys $50 on Cash App so you guys can buy your lunch or do whatever you want with it. So make sure y'all take y'all notes so y'all can put it in the end.
Septuagint here. Brenton's Septuagint. Right? Now we're going to learn about Hanukkah. We're going to go to 1 Maccabees chapter 1. And y'all going to learn some stuff. And look at Gideon. He's even putting up the Apocrypha for y'all. This is 1 Maccabees chapter 1. This is where they got the Feast of Dedication from in the New Testament. They had the book of Maccabees in their possession. Right? This is 1 Maccabees chapter 1. Let me turn to chapter 1. I'm saying it, but I'm not turning there. And y'all gonna read about something that happened in Israel's history. This happened during the time of the Greek Empire. They conquered the Medo-Persian Empire. Right? This 1 Maccabees chapter 1, we're gonna read verses 7 to 10. We're gonna read about this guy named Antiochus Epiphanes. This 1 Maccabees chapter 1. This is the origin of Hanukkah. I gave y'all the origin of the Passover. Y'all know about the Passover now. Do everybody in the chat who did not know what the Passover was, who was here from the beginning, do you understand what the Passover is now? Do you have give me a W if you understand what it is now, if you didn't before? Beautiful. Beautiful. If you were here from the beginning and you didn't know, I'm only telling the people who was here from the beginning and they didn't know what it was. Now y'all know what it is. Right? It's going to come back up again later. Very good. They're learning, Jeff. They're learning. Y'all see that? They didn't know what it was at first. Now they know. They're taking notes and everything. And by the way, me and Gideon still want y'all to DM us screenshots of your notes. I want to see how many notes y'all take.
That chat, and I'll get you guys that lunch.
We're going to read verses 7 to 10. Gideon got it up there for y'all. So y'all give a W for Gideon for providing the Apocrypha for y'all to be able to follow along. Go ahead, Jeff.
1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died.
And this is talking about history's Alexander the Great. Look up who Alexander the Great is. Who in the chat ever heard of Alexander the Great? Give me a W if you ever heard of Alexander the Great. Very good. Somebody been doing some history. Been studying some history. Very good. That's what this is talking about. He ruled the known world. Keep reading though, Jeff. Let's see what it says, what happened after he died. Go ahead.
Verse 8. And his servants bear rule, everyone in his place.
Mm-hmm.
And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth.
So after Alexander the Great died, his kingdom was split upon among his servants. History will tell you it was 4 of his servants that split it up, his empire up into 4 parts, right? But I'm getting some background now. This on your end, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm unmuted, but I don't have anything going on here.
Let me see. Let me make sure that they're on. No, it ain't nobody on that. Yeah. All right. Go ahead, Jeff. Continue.
Verse 10. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been a hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks.
And now that y'all have heard about him, you will never forget who this guy is again. It says, and there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus surname Epiphanes. When you surname something, that means that's not their original name. I mean, it's a name somebody gave to you or you gave to yourself, right? He came out of one of these rulers, right? During the Greek Empire. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to look up what does the name Epiphanes mean? Because it's where we get our modern day word, like I had an epiphany. I'm going to tell y'all what his name means. We're going to go to Britannica.com. I'm going to send you this link if you want it to, Gideon. This is Britannica.com. Under Antiochus. I hope it's the one. I hope it sent me the right one. Hold on. Don't send me the one where we all on there. They got them like blended together. There it is. Okay, Gideon, I just sent it to you so you can share it on the screen for anybody who wants to see it. Right? This is what it says under Antiochus. Let me tell y'all what this guy thought about himself. This Antiochus Epiphany. He surnamed himself that though. Right? This is what it says under Antiochus the Fourth Epiphanes. It says Antiochus the Fourth Epiphanes, Greek, God manifest. Wait a minute, Jeff. This man is saying that he was God manifest. Other people translate it as God incarnate or God in the flesh. Chat room, who does that sound like to you? Somebody claiming to be God in the flesh. Who does that sound like? Yes, but before the Antichrist. Who's God in the flesh to Christian? Jesus. There you go, y'all. Do y'all see this? This guy's coming along saying, I am God in the flesh. I am God incarnate. Right? Now watch y'all see the stuff this guy who has the same title as Jesus, we're gonna see his attitude about the laws of God, about eating pork, about the winter season. It lines up perfectly with your Jesus, not mine. Your Jesus. That's who y'all really serving. That's what I'm gonna show y'all. Y'all really serving this guy right here. Y'all doing everything right on point. I'm gonna show y'all that. Then I'm gonna show y'all what Jesus did and what he told us to do. This is y'all really serving, right? So you got this guy saying he's God incarnate. Okay, let's go back to now that we got that, let's go to John chapter 1. I'm gonna throw that on in now. Let's go to John 1. We're gonna read John 1 and 1, then we're gonna skip. Let me show y'all something though. See, all of this is related to Hanukkah. All of this is related to Hanukkah. Satan got y'all. And guess what? The Antichrist is going to do the same thing over again. Only this time, it's going to be real easy to dupe you Christians because y'all already on his side. You just don't know it. If a guy came on the scene right now telling people, you got to eat pork. 90% of the world already eats pork. You're not going to have to twist your hand and do that. Twist your arm to do that. Y'all already on board with the idols, with the diet, with the pagan holy days, all of that. Y'all already been tricked. That's why this book is not in Protestant Bibles. You know why? Because you would put two and two together. That's why they took Maccabees out of there. They didn't want you to put two and two together. Y'all don't got duped. Y'all are serving the Jesus y'all think y'all serving is actually Antiochus Epiphany. Y'all actually serving him. I'm gonna prove it to you. And y'all tell me, do y'all recognize any of these Christmas Christmas characteristics? But we're gonna come back to that. For now, read John 1 and read verse 1.
John chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
And this is not talking about literal words that comes out of somebody's mouth. This is a title for Jesus. Revelation 19 tells you he is called the Word of God. So what this verse is saying is, in the beginning was Jesus, and Jesus was with God, and Jesus was God. You got God with God. We're not going to get that deep into it right now. We're going to skip down, and we're going to read verse 14. And chat room, whoever that was that just posted that, Romans 14 and 14 again, random. Get them up out of here. Get them up out of here. Give me a thumbs up when you got them. They're trying to teach in my chat room. Don't try to teach in my chat room. Open up your own room on your own Discord or whatever and teach them. Don't come in my chat room trying to eat. Trying to cook. Well, you can eat, but trying to cook, I mean to say. Don't come here. You're supposed to be here to eat, not cook. You got too many people want to come to your house and push you out the kitchen and start cooking. That's not how we do things over here. So whoever that was, get them up out of here and give me a thumbs up when you got them. I want confirmation that you got them.